I've mastered one Paradox game, but how long would it take me to conquer the world in every Paradox game? Starting in this video with Crusader Kings 3, I'll take on the ultimate challenge, no matter how long it takes. So let's see what we're dealing with today. I've played CK3 for 400 hours, which by Paradox standards makes me a beginner, but I'm confident that I can achieve a world conquest. It won't be easy though. Sudden character deaths and rebellions can quickly end a game, even if you're moments away from a world conquest. I didn't want to make it too easy, so I'd be starting as a duke in India. The high development in the region meant I'd have a strong economy, and on top of that, I'd get access to elephant men-at-arms, which are some of the best in the game. A strong foundation for what was sure to be a ridiculously long campaign. I wasn't going to play as some random guy. Instead, I created a custom ruler, a newborn with great traits. As a child, I couldn't really do much, so I improved my holdings until I came of age. 16 years later, I had increased our income to 7 gold per month. My goals for the beginning of the game were to lay the foundation for a world conquest. The following is what I had to do. Build tall, reform their religion, and have good children. For now, I just continue building. I got the first elephant regiment, and not long after, I also got married. My wife then gave birth to a really good son and heir. I tried to expand whenever possible, so our first war was against the Maldives. Right after winning the opening battle, my wife died while giving birth to another great son. But I didn't have time for sorrow if I wanted to conquer the world, so I immediately got a new wife. We then won the war, but my other wife also died in childbirth. I had to get a third. For our second war, I fabricated a claim on my neighbor. The war was very even, and I almost lost a battle, but after wearing them down, I came out on top. Unfortunately, my really good son got killed in battle. After becoming infirm, I knew that I had to prepare for succession by killing one of my sons and disinheriting the other. We continued as my 21-year-old son. His reign was uneventful until I got enough piety to reform their religion. Shortly after that, I died, leaving the throne to my 9-year-old son. He continued the development of our holdings and greatly expanded our number of war elephants. He thought it was a good idea to try them out on our neighbor, even though they outnumbered us. This was a crucial mistake. The war was bloody. And ultimately, it ended in a white peace. At least it proved we weren't quite ready for difficult wars. So I expanded the amount of elephants even further and began a murder plot against the guy who beat us. I was, however, murdered myself right after. He didn't get to avenge his defeat, but his son had every intention to. But before I could get my revenge, disaster struck. In what could only be described as a miracle, I recovered on the same day, without any signs of ever having it. Then measles hit. I survived, but was left blind. The realm nicknamed me the Depraved. And then something incredible happened. I became a fucking conqueror and went crazy. With lots of war elephants, enemy armies were slaughtered, and those who survived were either recruited or executed. I formed the Kingdom of Quran, but didn't stop there. My rival's 14-year-old son decided to duel me, and despite being blind, I dominated him. The conquered tried to resist, but were quickly put down. Then, an unbelievable opportunity arose, which made it possible to more than double our size in one war. After a short amount of time, we won. They tried to revolt but were put down. As punishment, they all had to convert to our religion. We were also able to change succession law, which made sure everything would go to one heir. Almost all of India fell to the blind conqueror, but at 69, smallpox came for him again. This time, there would be no miracle. He survived 2 plagues, conquered almost all of India, and did it all while blind. This guy's legacy is insane. His son ascended the throne, inheriting the conqueror trait. After putting down a revolt, the campaign to outdo his father began. First, we cleaned up India, gaining the nickname the Righteous in the process. Then, he invented time travel, just so he could click the link in the pinned comment or description and play World of Tanks for free. If you haven't heard about World of Tanks, it's a massive multiplayer combat game with more than 800 different war machines for you to explore. There are dozens of maps across all climates, offering many different ways to play. Will you blaze across open fields, snake through forests, or hang back and shoot from afar? You decide. Devise a battle plan with your teammates and work together to destroy your opponents. Now, Wargaming told me not to say this, but try not to get overly immersed. It's nearly impossible though. The historical accuracy, detailed vehicles, and realistic graphics might just make you think you're a real tank commander. All I ask is that you try. Click the link in the description and you'll start off with a tier 6 British tank, 250,000 credits, 7 days of premium access, and best of all, the infamous hot dog camo. If you have an account but you haven't played for 30 days or more, you don't have to feel left out. There's rewards for you too. 3 days premium access, a checkered camo, and a 7-day rental of a premium tank. Get the game now. It's literally free, and if you don't, I'll cry. Okay, back to the video. Expansion proceeded in all directions. By fighting multiple wars at once, large amounts of land were conquered in short amounts of time. And by winning 3 tournaments, we were able to start and complete a heroic legend, which gives access to one of the most broken casus belli in the game, the Mand Filthy. It allows you to subjugate huge countries, but you only have it for 15 years. This supercharged our conquest. I also got a perfect son. After some more conquering, I decided to take a break and work on forming a hybrid culture. One of the shiniest cultures has the mystical ancestors tradition, which gives you renown for granting titles to relatives. This is very overpowered, so I went on a grand tour to increase cultural acceptance enough to hybridize with them. With that done, the conquest continued. I had a lot of piety, which allowed me to buy claims on almost all of the HRE. But halfway through the war, the HRE split up. Luckily, I still had the claims, so after peacing out, I went to war again. I then got really stressed, which caused me to get deposed. My 17-year-old son ascended to the throne. All the people that had been subjugated weren't happy about that. They all united with the same goal of destroying the entire realm. We were now faced with an existential threat, and they had 134,000 soldiers against our 25,000. But our young emperor was confident. He only raised the elite war elephants. With 5,000 of them, he started sieging down the treacherous vassals. But then he saw that all of their soldiers were sieging down his personal holdings. He rushed over there and engaged them in battle. Heavily outnumbered, he slaughtered every single one of them, causing the war to be invalidated. There was still dissent in the realm, so in an attempt to sway the vassals, gifts were sent out. Then, the same sickness that had blinded his grandfather infected him too. He survived but was disfigured. While recovering and enjoying a feast, another revolt started, and soon after a crusade for Bulgaria as well. The revolt was dealt with, and the elephants were sent to face the Christian Crusaders. Personally leading the army, 150,000 Christians were slaughtered, and the crusade was defeated. After buying claims on large parts of the Arabian Empire, we went to war, and won very quickly. Then Egypt's king was captured in the opening battle. We then went to war with the Byzantine Empire, which saw the annexation of Constantinople. But the vassals were unhappy. To counter this, thousands of gold were given out in gifts again. It worked on some, but not all. So a revolt started nonetheless. Our ruler had proved himself a capable commander, and under his leadership, our elite elephants beat the revolt. The conquest was resumed. Claims were bought on almost all of France, and after conquering the Nordics and Burgundy, war was declared. After only sieging down a few holdings, they surrendered. While then going into Iberia, 2 revolts started. I quickly ended the war and put down the revolts. Then I returned to Iberia to finish it off. While in a war with the Byzantines, a dissolution revolt had begun. They had made a lot of progress while I was busy, and it felt hopeless. I had hired every mercenary and holy order available and sent them to interrupt the siege, but I lost the battle, and after a few days they won the siege, bringing them up to 100% war score. My whole empire was dissolved, and I was brought back to where I'd started 13 hours ago. I was distraught. Then I remembered, if you crash your game through Task Manager, you're brought back to the last autosave. I tried again and came up with a plan. I raised my levies next to their sieging army. After I lost the battle, I ordered them to attack. This was a suicide attack that brought me enough time to get my elite elephants to enemy territory and siege down a holding. It was so stressful, and I even lost for a second, but they didn't act in time. After a few more sieges, I had enough of a margin to engage their army, which turned the tide. At 74 years old, our ruler was still commanding the army. After a while, the war was invalidated, and we had come back from certain defeat. We continued the expansion. While going deep into Africa, we got word of the rise of the Mongols. They took advantage of our absence and declared war for all of India. By the time I could react, there was nothing I could do. My personal holdings, the ones that boosted my men-at-arms to insane levels, were lost. I immediately declared war to regain them, and luckily I won quickly. At 91 years old, I completed a holy legend, allowing me to convert the vastness of my realm. to our religion. When my son came of age, I knew it was time to pass on the throne to him, so I made myself really stressed, which caused my death. While preparing for a grand tournament, the Mongols came again, but I was ready this time. While competing, I was ordering the army to siege down holdings. It got very annoying, being interrupted every few seconds, so I settled for a white peace. I won the tournament and put down a revolt. Then I won another tournament and went to war. I then killed the Khan, which splintered all of India. This allowed me to vassalize a lot of it. The Mongols invaded again. I white peaced and bought claims on their land to get rid of them once and for all. After winning a third tournament, I could start a heroic legend. I began retaking India by conquest and whenever possible through vassalization. When my heroic legend was done, I went crazy with the demand filthy casus belli. All remaining nations were conquered, but it took so long because of the lag. It was unbearable, especially when dealing with the Byzantines. Just look at this. But now, we're done. It only took 20 hours. The first Paradox game has been beaten. Stay tuned for the next video, where I learn EU4 from scratch until I can do a world conquest. Don't forget to play World of Tanks for free. By clicking the link in the description, you'll get some awesome bonuses, so do that. Also, thanks to my YouTube members, Maccabeus, Ivan the Gaul, Claudio Lopez, and Soviet Doge. I love you.